How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Bit of a long week here. Keith here from Commander Hoop Celtic. So I'm here tonight with Liam and Gaz. The both of the boys are from across the land in Bonnie, Scotland. Happy Bones night to you. I hope you're doing well. So Liam, I'll start with yourself there. Obviously it's been a bit of a mad week with everything going on since the draw over in Livingston. How are you feeling about everything so far this season?
I honestly don't know what to say about it. I think we're just taking every game as it comes and probably optimistic about more failure. Every game I've seen, we've just kind of been leading games, but we've been slacking with set pieces and defence, and it's just a lot of crap, basically, So we just need a new product, I think.
New product. Guys, what was your reaction the other night today? Did you watch the Livingston game?
I did. I thought that everything that has went wrong, or everything that could go wrong this season has went wrong with Celtic, and I think it was compounded the other night when you couldn't even see the ball the other night. I mean, listen, there was doubts about whether the game was going to go ahead, and I cannot believe that nobody thought to bring an luminous ball to the ground, because you end up playing with a ball that was the same colour as the snow. So that was absolutely ridiculous. But putting that aside, I actually thought we played well enough in the first half to be in front, and we just went stale in the second half. Took our eye off the ball. J. Emmanuel Thomas with the simplest of finishes. I'm still no daft about certain players in the team like Barkis, like Shane Duffy. I just think there was too many passengers the other night.
Would you agree on that, Liam, about Barkas and Duffy?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Duffy's height, he should be able to control like a 50-50, especially if he's going up for a header. I mean, I've never seen a centre half at his height miss a header like that ever since Ambrose. So I mean, it's just I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Maybe a lot of people are saying that it's mentality just now. Maybe it's a mental thing. Obviously, with his personal problems he's had, but he has said in interviews, "I'm going to shove on with Celtic. I'm going to play really good," and he's just not showing it. So don't know what's happening.
Like the two goals were nice goals, I have to say. Obviously, Turnbull got an assist and Griffiths got an assist. Like Beaton's goal, lovely finish. People were saying it was offside. Do you think it looked offside?
Yeah. I think if VAR had been in use, I think it would have been ruled out. It was actually a bit more obvious than I thought it was at first, and I was surprised the linesman didn't flag for it. But that was maybe the bit of luck that we needed. It's just a shame that we couldn't hold on to that luck.
Definitely. Mohammed goal was a nice goal, nice finish. It's just, you could say, like, when obviously we'll go to the Scott Brown thing. I know we don't want to dwell on last week. It's last week, we're moving on, but because we haven't been on in a week, so I thought I'd come on and talk about the Livingston game. Scott Brown sending off, Liam. Was it a sending off? Was it a not sending off? Because there's a bit of a split divide with this whole situation.
Well, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. At first, I thought he barely touched him, but I think what the referee's doing is he's saying, right, he's had his hand out, he's been confrontational with the player, but at the same time, I really don't think Scott Brown should have had his hands anywhere near that way, even if he did touch him or not. So I just think it was really stupid, and I think you can see after 5 minutes what Scott Brown's mentality is just now. I think that the man just lost the dressing room, to be honest.
I think I would agree. I think it was a bit more a stick-on red card for me. I just cannot believe. Don't mind. We can all talk about Willie Collum got the red card out quick enough, and start shouting about an injustice. But at the end of the day, when you see the replay, Scott Brown deliberately stops. He knows the player's coming in. I think it was Cabia. He sees him coming into him and just swings his arm, and there's no need for it. Now, I'm not saying we would have won the game And I know Neil Lennon kind of singled Scott Brown out in the interview after, but in my opinion, we didn't lose. We didn't drop points because Scott Brown gets sent off. We dropped points because yet again our defence can't defend. We've got a goalkeeper that is short of confidence, short of game time as well, and the fact that I don't know what was going through Scott Brown's head. It was just like it's not getting him any brownie points by doing things like that. So for me, absolutely stick on red card.
I think it was a red card, to be honest, because as I said, it was off the ball. He done it intentionally on purpose, and like literally a lot of parts of the game as well. He done it like there was enough. There was about 15 minutes left for us to turn that around and get the win. Obviously, we had that chance. Mohamed Anusi had that lob chance, and obviously there wasn't enough on it to get past the keeper. Their keeper played quite well. There's just no plan B with Celtic, and like even when we're chasing games, but people are saying here in the comments that the defense has been poor. Majority of the faults on Wednesday night was Christie as well. Christie was losing a lot of ball in midfield, bullied off the ball.
I thought Christie was rotten the other night. I really did. But I thought there was a lot of passengers the other night, and these are players that really need to step up. I know potentially we're going to end up trophyless this season. If you exclude the Scottish Cup, that was for last season. But I think, honestly, the Scottish Cup, as I said to you before we came on air, I think the Scottish Cup will get cancelled. I don't see that getting played to a finish. I think they've took the decision to suspend it, and I think they'll cancel it early doors. I think what was probably the most irritating thing about the other night was the fact that Livingston were trolling us on Twitter.
The 10 in a row post, you see?
That was the lowest of a low for me. That's basically sums up where we are as a club at the moment when we're getting trolled off a team like Livingston, who, listen, by all means, well done to them for reaching the League Cup final. Fantastic. David Martindale's doing a fantastic job, and I hope he passes the fit and proper test this week, so he can lead Livingston out in the League Cup final next month.
Yeah, well, look, I wish them the very best. I know they're playing St. John's in the final. Liam, anything to touch on about the game we move on from last week that really stuck out for you?
Well, last Wednesday I was watching, I had a couple of beers because obviously I've got this new kind of beer keg thing that you just get real pints out, so it's been like half cut. So I'm half cut, but when the game came on, like when they conceded, I nearly wrote my telly. I was throwing shit at it, and I was going to have my nut. Honestly, man, I just couldn't believe we lost the goal that quick, and it just shows you how shit we are this season.
I think the stage is at the kind of the last 20 minutes of the game, even before the sending off, when the ball was getting passed at the back, when the snow was kicking in. It just looked completely dodgy when they're passing it between them at the back. But we all knew it, that this majority of Celtic fans knew we need to win them games in hand to have any contention, and we threw it. It's completely in the bin now. We need to move on, but we'll go on to this week. Obviously, 2 days' time, we're back at Celtic Park. Hamilton, the Ackies, the last outing drew 1-1. Was it again Dundee United, Gaz?
0-0, I think it was. I'm sure it was 0-0 against Dundee United, but they've been struggling and are obviously bottom of the league for a reason. But it is really tight in there. But as I said to you, there's about 4 points separating 5 teams, so they're all in the mix down there, like St Johnstone, St Mirren, Hamilton. They're all right in danger, kind of thing. So they'll be coming to Celtic Park. I don't mean confident getting anything, but they won't be scared. I don't think the way we were playing, we're really, really struggling, and I think they'll come and maybe not go all out attack, but I think they'll try and sit in and hit us in attack and try and steal something.
Well, we played them on the 26th of December. We beat them 3-0. Obviously, there was good link-up play between Edward and Griffiths that day. I don't know what's the story with Edward if he's in contention to play, because Lennon hasn't done his press conference yet. So, Liam, would you go with Edward and Griffith up front tomorrow? Or not tomorrow, Wednesday night.
I'd give Ajay a chance. I mean, we spent the money for him, so why not use him? I mean, at the start of the season, he was knocking in the goals, so was Klamala. Edward, it's one of the things that he's down tools because he's not wanting to play for us because he's wanting his big move. But I mean, the intention to get a big move, you've got to play to up your stock. I said that in the previous broadcast with you, Keith. But seriously, I mean, that's just stupid if he's down in tools because he's not going to get his big move if he's not playing good.
What do you think, guys?
I would start Griffin Eddie tomorrow if Eddie's able to play. I know that strong rumours kicking about that Cham was the second player that tested positive for COVID, and because I think their roommates they share a flat that obviously Edward had to isolate as well. So hopefully he's in contention, and if he has, I would go Eddie and Griff up front, play a 3-5-2.
I'm going to speak about Griffiths. Griffiths came out this week and said that some Celtic fans are short-memoried about how well we've done in the last couple of years, and he's basically picked up for Lawwell and picked up for the team. What do you agree with that? What do you think of them comments, Liam?
Well,
about Lee?
I would say I read Lee's interview the other day there, and I can see that he's still optimistic about this season when a lot of fans aren't, and I do appreciate that confidence. But I mean, what he's got to do is he's got to show it in the park, show that confidence in the park, get a few goals for us, and hopefully we can get a win and run of games. But the way things are going, there's a lot of players at the team are just not bothered. I mean, we've not got a starting 11, we've not got like a regular starting keeper either, which is concerning.
The only guaranteed starters that we have is obviously Sorrow, McGregor, and Turnbull. That's the only core that we have. The rest is a head scratcher. Right back, left back. Like I know Oyer played right back during the night. Oyer played quite well. It was unfortunate, obviously, to take that chance before half time. But would you play Oyer tomorrow right back?
Yeah, absolutely. Ayers, he's got a bit of pace about him, and he's got a bit of presence where you can show the tackle players to stop them getting near him. So I would play Ayer at right back. I mean, he used to be really good at centre back also. But the thing I don't like about centre backs in Celtic, like Duffy and like he's pushes upfield, and as a centre back, stay where you are. Don't push upfield because that leaves you prone to counters, and that's what teams have been doing to us.
Right, we'll go to starting 11, right, just to get everybody's opinion right. I'll say mine last. Gaz, you're starting 11 for tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I don't know if he's available, but Scott Bain, I would start in goals.
What?
Drop
tell me the reason. Tell me the reason behind that now.
Just don't trust Barkas. I've not trusted him for day one, and I don't think he looks. Even listen. We can talk about the goal that we conceded, the first goal against Livingston, and you can talk about how poor the defending was, but at the end of the day, Barkas was nowhere near that ball. It was diving for clutching fresh air, and I just don't have any confidence in him. I'd rather have somebody like Bain. No offence to young Connor Hazard, I think he's still learning, but again, he's too raw. He's making too many mistakes. Even when he's facing shots against him, he's not catching anything. He's parrying far too many shots away. I think we saw against Hibs the pressure that he was under, when he really shouldn't have been under pressure. They should have came and collected that ball against Hibs. So I would go with Scott Bain in goals. I'd go back three: Christopher Ayer, Neil Beaton, and Greg Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
I would go Frimpong, Elyounoussi, McGregor, Sorrow, Turnbull, and midfield and Eddie and Griff up front. Right,
it's good midfield. Strong midfield, all right defence. Obviously, why did you go with Taylor instead of Laxall?
I just for what I seen for Taylor the other night, I just think he might be a better fit for that game. I don't know. I don't see Laxall staying beyond the season anyway, and I think Taylor will be left in that left back position. So it's probably about time that we started
building for the future and start
just giving him a regular game.
Right. So Davey says here. Davey says Barkas has 6 clean sheets in 14 games. Hazard has 3 clean sheets in 4 games, and Payne has 0 clean sheets. So,
I'd need to check that one out, but because I'm not got the stats in front of me. But I'd still go with Scott Bain. I still think he's a more
Scott Bain is our longest established keeper in the senior team.
Keeper than the two of them combined.
That's a tough one to say. So Liam, you're starting 11, and give me reasons why as well, if you can.
Okay, what I'd do is I'd keep Barkas in just to get in that game time. Uh, I'd put I would put Azure as right back. I'd put that. Who's that young boy again that we've got playing?
Welch.
Yeah, I put Welsh on with Beaton, and I'd put Laxal as left back. So
Flat four.
I mean, yeah, basically, and I'd have also I'd have Sorrow as centre defensive midfield because he's good at breaking up a ball. I'd also have um, Turnbull as up the front, but in the middle, centre attacking. Who else I'd have? I'd have Mikey Johnson at left midfield because I think he's not got any. He's not had as much game time as he can. I mean, a lot of people are saying he's shit just now, but give him more game time and he'll be fine. Who would have as right mid? Yeah, I'd have Frimpong as right mid, and I'd have Griff up front playing with Ajeti.
Ajeti, right. It's not a bad team. I go with Barkas and goal. I think, you know what, we're paying the money for this lad. If he's not going to play, we're going to look like an absolute laughing stock if we keep not playing this lad. You know, he's going to have to get clean sheets somehow, regardless who the opposition is. So Barkas in there. I just feel there's a bit of cons with Connor. Look, Connor done well with his clean sheets, but when it's coming to getting the ball, catching the ball, he's absolutely shocking in the air with it. And I think majority of Celtic keepers this season haven't been consistent when it comes for set pieces and stuff. This is why we're giving away so many goals. I think it was like 14 goals we gave away from set pieces this season alone in the league. So that's the reason why I go with Barkas. I think he didn't do too bad against Rangers. Fair enough. He couldn't do much about that. The own goal, you know. He's starting to look better at the back, passing out as well, coming out better. Going back to what Gaz said about Hazard and Duffy with the Hibs game, that did ring bells with me that night when we played Hibs, when he had a chance to come out and get the ball and he just left. It took ages. Like, he should have been out in that. And Beaton said it to him as well that night. So, regards to me back four, I'll go back four on this. I wouldn't go with three. I'd go with Christopher Royer right back. We've seen what he can do right back. He's clinical. He can get up and down that wing as well. We just need a solid right back because Jeremy Frimpong can't play right back, can't defend for shit. And we all know that. Left back, I'll go with Taylor. I think Taylor deserves the time. At the end of the day, I know Laxall is here on the big money and we have him on loan from AC Milan, but I can't see him staying past the season as well. We could be getting him for 7.3 million. I don't think this point because Laxall, he's great at going forwards. He's not afraid to get stuck in the tackles, but it's the inconsistency. Like he's given away 3 or 4 goals this season so far since he came in with them fouls. And look what happened against Hibs. It was him that caused that foul.
Aye.
You know, I don't want to dwell on mistakes. You got to look at the promising things what the players can bring to the pitch as well. Me back to, I'll go with Welch and I'll go with Beaton. I think Duffy, I know he's probably going to go with Duffy. I think Duffy needs to be rested. He has to be rested because it's just make mistakes. Like Duffy, regardless the headers, he's grand with getting headers. I know he made 1 or 2 mistakes so far, but when the distribution of the ball is terrible, especially when he's trying to hit the flanks with it. You can't do it. Can't do it whatsoever. So midfield, it's not midfield. I'm gonna go with 5 midfield and a 1 striker because I don't think he's gonna play 2 tomorrow. I just don't know what the story is with Edward. I don't think he has enough trust in Klamala to link up with Ed Griffiths, and Yeti is still a question mark over his future. I know he only came into the club obviously latter parts of August. So McGregor is going to captain the team. Sorrow as the defensive midfielder. Turnbull behind, obviously playing the Rodgers role, the number 9 role is they call it in football. Mikey Johnson on the left. I think Mikey does have to play because he's been out majority of the season so far injured. But the only way he's going to prove himself in the Celtic shirt, he has to play these games, regardless of the opposition. because James Forrest is around the corner, and we want both these Scottish players playing well, especially if they want to get into the national team for the Euro for your sake. And then right wing would have to be Jeremy Frimpong. So obviously, what we can bring on, we can bring Roger on, we can bring Yeti on, we can bring Klamala on. I don't know if he's gonna. The likes of Dembele is gonna be on the bench tomorrow. It's tough to say. Up front, I'll go with Griff. I think Griff needs to back it up with goals and stay with the big talk.
What we need is a massive win. We need a 4 or 5-0 win. Not so much to kick-start the season or whatever, just for a bit of confidence, just for a bit of joy for the fans, just to start winning games again and start putting wins together. It all starts on Wednesday, and listen, the league's gone, the season's gone, but it's all about building for next season, and we need to start building some confidence again.
This is our worst start in a calendar new year since 1994. When the podcast said there and on. What do you think of that, Liam?
Yeah, I think that we do need to rack up some wins. I mean, it doesn't look good when we can't beat Livingston when we came back from a trip to Dubai, which is basically spending season ticket money holders' money, and it's just not looking good in the club at all. We definitely need a new PR agent. That's for fucking sure. But no, seriously, I mean, it just doesn't look good in the club, especially when we were the only club in the UK to actually go abroad for the trip. And I seen Spartak Moscow and that they went to Dubai, and they were just kind of taking the mickey on Twitter about Celtic and them, but they're just only down the road from Dubai, to be honest. So,
well, I think Virgil van Dijk was recuperating in Dubai, I seen as well.
Yeah, with Clarence Seedorf.
I didn't see any big massive headlines or big outrage that Dubai Van Dijk was in Dubai. So
as you know, it's the Premier League press. They get away with
the goldfish bowl up here, but
right. Thanks very much. Can you touch on James Forrest's situation? I thought he's meant to be supposed to be back in training. Well, Lennon did say back in December, he said it potentially could be 6 to 8 weeks. 6 is pushing it. So hopefully we're looking to have him back on that pitch by the middle of February. Now, don't want to rush him back because if it all goes wrong, you know he got surgery and all that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how long he's going to be out for. Could be out for the rest of the season. Could be going into next season. And we're relying on. We need him. We need him on the wing. As much as people used to give him shit, but he's been a massive part of the success for the last 9 years, James Forrest. Even European games, Europa League games, took for granted. What do you think of that name, James Forrest? What's your outcome on Jamesy?
Well, in previous podcasts, I've always slagged James Forrest for being lazy and inconsistent, blah blah blah. But this season, I actually was thinking, "Where's wee Jamesy? I need him," because I mean, Frimpong, right, good player, good pace, but he always does the same move where he's running down the wing, cuts inside because he can't cross a ball. So that's what we need. We need somebody to cross the balls into, because if we're crossing the ball into the box, you just got to rely on your strikers to put them in. That's what Big John Hartson says, all the time. Just cross the ball into the box and let your strikers do the work.
But the season with the season we're having this year, I think as Celtic fans with patience and players' performances, it's been down to Scudder. So do you start James Forrest? Do you bring him off the bench? He obviously he's going to need game time to get back into the momentum of things.
Yeah, definitely. I think that he'll be wanting to push on for the Euros this year, and obviously Griff is wanting to do that as well. But he's just got to get a run of performances and stay fit, stay alert, and just keep pushing for performances every game, but be consistent. And James Forrest will be looking to get that big push and nod to get into the Euros because he'll be wanting there as well.
Okay, and what about yourself, guys? About James Forrest?
I think
on the deep end.
I think we've definitely missed him. Even when he's supposedly not had the greatest of seasons, I think his stats have shown that he's actually had a good season. So, you know, I'd agree with you in the sense that, you know, we don't need to rush him back as much. I think if we were closer to Rangers, if we were still going for the title, still in the season, then yeah, I would be a bit more forceful about pushing him back into the team. But at the end of the day, you know, I don't think there's any rush about pushing him back in. So just bleed them in here and there, wee 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there. I just think we need to take our time with him because, as you say, you don't want to have him out injured for the opener of the next season.
Right, I was gonna. There's people are saying in the comments here saying about the Champions League spot. So the coefficients, Scotland got a good rating in the coefficients for the last 2 years because Celtic and Rangers done well in Europa League. So this season coming, there is a second Champions League spot, but there's 2 rounds. Now, they're saying 2 rounds. It could be 1 round. Depends at the end of the season on the ratings. But they're guaranteed there's two teams that could be going for Champions League football. So I think it's a long time away. I don't even think we should even discuss this at the moment. All we should be talking about now is getting through every game, talking about a manager, talking about getting in someone. And you know what? We're going to go into the managers thing in about 10 minutes' time. We're going to talk about, obviously, January now. It's been one of the most quiet months for speculation. Even our Celtic, considering we're saying this player wants to leave, that player wants to leave. What's your output on January so far, Liam? Is it even a transfer window in early?
Well, I was watching them reporting Scotland today, and all they touched upon was Livingston, Dundee United, and Rangers. There wasn't even a mention for Celtic, so that's showing you that Celtic's not interested in the press at the moment. So either they've got something big coming up, which is doubtful, or they're going to bring in about 2 or 3 loan signings, which I think they should do.
They can. They're allowed bringing 2 more loan. I think it's 6 loan signings allowed in the squad for the season or halfway through a season. It could be a last minute thing where they could go for, you know, deadline day 2 or 3 players in. I really convinced that they're not going to do any signings because they're not sure themselves where they're fixed with a manager. Like, are they going to stick by Neil Lennon, that guys? Are they going to make a change?
Well, we're obviously we're meant to have the results of the January review, as they're calling it. I wouldn't be surprised if you stick by him to the end of the season. I do think he needs to go, and I hate seeing the way it's going for him because, you know, there was a whole blow up of the John Hartson comments. You know, obviously Hartson will know the pressure that Lennon's under, and he'll understand it. Lennon probably doesn't mean what he's saying, you know, and if the comment is something like, John's comments mean nothing to me. If he praises me, they mean nothing. If he slates me, they mean nothing. So obviously that's John Hartson. But also, you know, you've got the comments about Petrov kind of came out and had a go at Lennon, I think. But then Lambert stuck up for him. So, you know, listen, this is not what we need. We don't need ex-players kind of jumping in and sticking the boot in, as it were. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed, but I'd rather see us bring somebody else in and try and work towards what could possibly be at the end of the season. I don't think any manager that will come in will get the blame for losing the league.
The thing is, right, people are saying Lennon has to go. I think if you're going for a new, fresh start, you have to get rid of Strachan. Steve Woods needs to go, as much as Steve has been a good servant to the club, and then obviously John Kennedy. So you're looking at 4 payouts before the season's done, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going for a manager that's in work and their coaching staff, there's another bit of money you're going to be down, and then your season ticket money as well. I think a lot of fans are going to stall on this until they know what's going on next season. And what I'm going to say to Liam is the biggest word that we're missing this season is clarity. Even someone said in the comments there a couple of minutes ago, did they ever confirm the second player who had COVID? So there's the broken communication between the fans that are paying £500 to £600 a season to watch a streaming service that they're not getting the full service for. Like, they're not getting they're going out to look at a service, and hopefully a team goes out and turns up and gets the points for the quest for 10, and the 10's not there.
I think you know there's obviously names been bandied about like Eddie Howe and Rafa Benitez and Jack Ross. The wheels have came off the fun bus for Jack Ross, obviously recently, but they're still fourth. They're still 6 points off us. I know we've got games in hand, but and Jack Ross is a good manager. He's shown that in the past with St Mirren. He showed it with Sunderland. I know it didn't go exactly to plan with Sunderland, but he still got them into the League One playoff final. They were 6 when he got the sack.
And he got to the Payne Trophy as well.
Aye.
The EFL trophy.
Eddie Howe, I think it was back-to-back promotions. He'd won the championship, kept Bournemouth in the Premier League, probably on a smaller budget than most other managers. So, he's one as well that really would excite me. Benitez has won everything in the game, but I don't see him coming up here. And I don't even think his record is that great in terms of, obviously, with Newcastle. In terms of, everybody thinks he's a god down there. And I don't see it. I think he's a good manager, and I think if he'd been backed...
He's a good manager.
Aye, I think if he'd been backed better by Mike Ashley at Newcastle, then who knows. But, I don't know. I just think it was an average performance by Benitez. I know we won the championship, but it's basically like
but the thing about Benitez, it didn't really,
as much as Eddie Howe would.
Benitez didn't really work out at Napoli. Didn't really. Fair enough, he won a trophy or two at Inter Milan after Mourinho. It was a shambles at Real Madrid. Absolute shambles. Never took the Real Madrid job. Done all right. Liverpool won the European Cup, FA Cup, and stuff like that. Done well when he came in, done the Chelsea job, won the Europa League, and obviously set the marquee for Valencia, win the 2 La Ligas in a row. I think he won the Copa del Rey as well with Valencia and the UEFA Cup. Your input on it, Liam, the whole Benitez shambles, obviously the hoax letter that went around. Was there any thought in your head that we could actually get Rafa?
Well, I mean, for my English team, I'm a Liverpool fan as well, so I would have loved to see Rafa here, but it's been confirmed. Well, I'm not sure if it's legit or not, but it's been confirmed that he's left that job in China and he's just won a
12 million a year he was on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he's just he's older now, so maybe he doesn't want to put himself through that pressure managing a big team like Celtic.
See, you think if from the outside perspective of football, him going to Celtic, it's not look as a big team to the rest of the world because it's not a big league. It's about selling Rafa Benitez, selling the Celtic goal. Like as I keep saying on these podcasts, if we're not guaranteed Champions League football, are you going to give Rafa a checkbook to build on? I don't think Rafa would want to stay for Celtic for 2 or 3 years.
Who has the board really backed though in terms of the last 20 years?
Well, Lennon's been backed in the last 12 months. As much as people say these players have been shocking, but they went out and this is the first time in 20 years that people came out and said this was a really good transfer window when this was short at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back on that.
I mean, I can't believe that we've got 7 days of the transfer window left, and I've not heard one single Celtic fan being worried about the fact that we've not signed anybody.
I think there's so much shite going on off the pitch, like regards to like Neil Lennon, Lawwell, still the boy is still settling in the air, Like, well, obviously we've been linked with Ben Davis and then the other lad off Preston as well.
Alfie Doughty, Ben Pearson. The newest name to add to that is Liam Shaw, youngster for Sheffield Wednesday. He's been with Sheffield Wednesday since he was 8. He's 19 now. Central midfielder. What a surprise! We only seem to be going for midfielders. Do you know what I mean? It's like we need defenders, we need attackers possibly, we need a goalkeeper. But no, let's go for another midfielder to add to the list. I don't really know much about the boy in terms I've not seen him play. I don't see a lot of Sheffield Wednesday games, but supposedly I think he's played something like 18 professional games, like 18 senior.
Why do you think that comment there, guys?
What's that? Benitez would think Ashley's Santa Claus. That's
quite a good
probably
point, man.
bang on, actually, to be fair.
Right, we're going to talk about Lawwell. Lawwell's actually, there's a lot of talk that he's meant to be leaving at the end of the season anyway. He's meant to be leaving all. Is it a case that when Lawwell does leave, if he doesn't act quick enough, there will be that cloud of angry Celtic fans outside the stadium looking for blood and all this crap?
Probably the Celtic are playing with fire, because at the end of the day, they know they need to do something big before the end of this month, before the end of this transfer window. They need to come out and show their hand, basically, because they're playing with season ticket money next year. In terms of, I think there'd be a massive cull in season ticket if they don't do it. Do you know what I mean? They need to. I'm not saying they need to go out and buy big or whatever, do you know what I mean? But they need to show that they're putting the club in the right direction, do you know what I mean? And maybe that is by replacing Peter Lawwell. I think Peter Lawwell has done as much
Being banker as well.
He's done bad for the club, do you know what I mean? I think Lawwell has done as much good as bad for the club, but this season just has been a nightmare.
It's just he hasn't represented himself. The only reason he came out the other day was the boy disaster. So your input on Lawwell, Liam, what do you think?
I just think there's something really dodgy going on. I mean, I would hate to be like one of the customer service advisors at Celtic, because I've worked in customer service before, and the amount of abuse they must be taking, I just feel really sorry for them, especially if they're on minimum wage, and just putting the under 18s on furlough. I just thought that was shocking. I mean, I think that half the under 18s team, if they had any sense, would probably transfer to another team, because that's just shocking. And you seen Dembele.
Why they didn't pay them? They furloughed them.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just think that Dembele liked a comment and people were giving him shit for that. I'm like, no, I mean, he's sticking up for his teammates here. So, I mean, being a young under 18s player, I mean, seriously, if you're getting put in furlough, and you're not even getting that your time's going to be up for Celtic, I mean, it's probably their dream to play for Celtic. Now they have to transfer somewhere else, especially if they're on furlough. I mean, I think 3/4 of the boys will be away.
100%, and it's sad because you're looking at that. We were mentioning like the likes of Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe is one of them people that looks at the youth systems. If you want to build a successful team, you bring youth through as well. And Celtic have been notorious for that, bringing new players through. And look at Callum McGregor, James Forrest, Tierney. Tierney was an ideal one where he made 25 million off a lad that we got for little to nothing. Came through, paid him obviously his ham sandwiches and his joggies and his Nakamura boots, but that's about it. Like,
yeah, I mean, right. I know that a lot of people are saying that they want 35 million for Eddie and all that, but I mean, there's no guarantee about that. I reckon the most you'll probably get for him right now, if a big team's in for him, like Leicester, I mean, they'll probably pay about 15 million for him, and they have to give.
I'd take 15 million. I really would. It's because you're looking at a market where these teams are not getting the fans in. So they're on strap pockets as well. And someone said, would you think Edward will go to West Ham? Guys, what do you think?
It probably would. It'd probably be a good fit for West Ham. We've seen players go for Celtic down to England, and you're kind of thinking Van Dijk going to Southampton, and you're kind of thinking, what are you going to do at Southampton? But he got his big move. He had a couple of great seasons for Southampton, and he ended up in Liverpool winning the league, winning the Champions League. So
World Club Cup as well, and he was up for the Ballon d'Or as well. So think about a former Celtic player up for the Ballon d'Or, like Jesus.
Tierney going to a relegation hit Arsenal.
Won the FA Cup.
Listen, I'm delighted for Tierney, obviously, because he's the abuse that he took, and this is the only thing that's doing my head in. In terms of Edward, I agree with you and Liam that I think you're probably easily looking 15 million. Realistically, you're looking 15 million rather than 30 or 35 million. But the thing is with the fans, I don't like the fact that a lot of them seem to be on saying, "Oh, I take it. I'll drive him down to London, I'll do this. Do you know what I mean? Like, get him at the club. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is a guy
that we were hinting that he's done the best. He's been the best striker since.
This is a guy that was one of the best strikers since Larsson, do you know what I mean, not long ago. And, you know, his goals against Rangers, his goals in Europe, his goals that have won his the treble, quadruple treble, if you want. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't just forget about that. You can't just start shouting about, he's not been playing well this season, so he needs to go. Well, nobody's played well this season. You're going to sell them all? Do you know what I mean? There's a
the only one that sticks out to me is Turnbull. Turnbull's the only one
that go in the summer. Telling you,
we're looking at what Brownie's contract's up this summer. What would you do with Liam? Would you keep Brownie on coaching capacity or let him go? What?
I wouldn't keep him on as a player, to be honest. I'd see him more in a coaching role. I definitely see him in a coaching role 100%, because all the players look up to him. He's a brilliant captain. He has been for the past few years. He's just not got the legs anymore. I mean, I love him to death, but he's done so much for the club. But you've got to keep him in a coaching role, because I think he'd be brilliant.
I totally agree. I'd maybe put him in charge of under 23s, something like that. You know, put him in charge of academy and see how he does.
100%. And the likes of Griffiths has another year left in his contract. Rodgers' contract is not for has another year left as well. I think Rodgers will go. I think that Chan will go. That opens the door for like the likes of Henderson to come in. These players, Robinson as well, after they come back from Gillingham. Now we're going to see a massive youth team next season, and the way I look at it as a Celtic fan, we need to get a good player. We need to get a good manager in. It might not be a marquee manager, but it's either you go out and buy a good coaching staff and a good manager, or you go out and invest in the squad to do well. You know, I think it could be a case that they'll give, because argument's sake, to go for Jack Ross, as much as I wouldn't take Jack Ross as number one candidate. They might look at this and say, look, we went for these candidates, we couldn't get that. We're going to accept Jack Ross. And we're going to give Jack Ross a 12 million budget because we don't have the revenue that we thought we were getting forecasting off the books.
Well, you look at the difference with getting an Eddie Howe or a Rafa Benitez rather than a Jack Ross, because the players he can bring in. You know, Gerrard's got that pool. I know he's no brought as many players up here as he probably should have, but in terms of he's got that pool
because he's like, I want to work with Steven Gerrard.
You know, if Lampard, for talking sakes, comes up to Celtic, which I don't think he will, but if he came up to Celtic, you know, he would have that kind of pull as well. And I think Eddie Howe and Benitez has that, whereas Jack Ross, everybody's like, Jack Ross, kind of thing. So I think I'd bring the new manager in now, sort of like the way Leicester done with Rodgers. You know, give him half a season. Whether he wants to bring in players in January, that's up to him. Well, he's not going to have any time now, but you know, try and work with the squad now, and then you know who you're going to buy out.
Do you know what I do is, I think the club need to look at this in perspective. We're talking about Edward's valuation of, people are saying 20, blah, blah. If we sell Edward for 15, straight away, go out and buy a striker for 5, right? If it's a domestic one or a championship one, go and buy someone for 5 million. Give him to gel into the team, right? For going into next season, get used to the team. So that's what they should have done with Klamala. They didn't really settle him in last year. They gave him a game or two against Clyde, and that's it. And then you go out. Once you sell Edward, you go out and buy whoever. If argument's like, say, Sean Dyche, I know he's not a candidate in the running. You go out, you pay off Burnley, and you get your coaching staff with it as well. You're not buying. People are saying, who's the next man? We need a team. We need a coaching team, not just the man itself. Because if we go out and buy the man itself, we could be still in the roar with Gavin Strachan and with John Kennedy. And we don't want John Kennedy to fall around.
Well, I think that I seen a name put in the hat today in an article in one of the Celtic Facebook pages, Sean Maloney. He's been second.
I'm about to speak about the next year.
I was being put second in charge for Belgium for ages, and Belgium have done brilliant. So, I mean, I don't know if they'd have Sean Maloney as first team manager, but why not?
It's a gamble, isn't it? It's a massive gamble. I know he knows that. My opinion is, I think we should need to stay away from the Celtic relation stuff. I think we need to go fresh cut with this.
Aye, I always think that Sean Maloney was always that kind of shy, timid, wee boy at school kind
Imagine
of look of it.
he's
Do you know what I mean?
striking.
I can't imagine him on the dugout like shouting at players kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't. I probably best. I did see the Maloney kind of link. I thought that was an unusual.
Hamish done a good job, and I have to say, him and his team done a good job. Hell, 67, fair play, lads. But I wouldn't take Sean Maloney. I think it's too much of a risk. I think he needs a manager job first. I know he's the coach. He's obviously Martinez, right man at Belgium, and Belgium are ranked in the world for a good while as well. And they done well in the World Cup and they done well in the Euros. I think he took
I think
after.
they're number one in the world. Do we know?
I don't know if they're still first in the world at the moment, but
I think he could be lined up to take over for Martinez. Even when Martinez leaves, that could be a possibility.
Right, so 40% of the Edinburgh transfer fee would go to PSG. Celtic would need to sell them for considerably more than 15 million. Cheers for that, Red Scotland. Red Scotland's a good man. He's always watching all the podcasts. Every time I always see him floating around. Paul John Dykes one. Brilliant. I think this is crazy talk. This one here.
Aye, listen. I saw today that when he got the sack, I think he'd been sacked 30 minutes, and Ladbrokes had him installed as 61.
I think it's a desperate. I think Celtic fans are looking. I know Wim was only asking the question, but I think we're looking desperate as a club considering Lampard.
Aye, no, I don't think anybody's realistically looking at Lampard. I think people's name is just going to get thrown in. Rooney's name was thrown in no long ago. Do you know what I mean? And I think Rooney could possibly do well with Derby.
Yeah, Rooney's there for 3 years anyway. What do you think of the whole Lampard situation, man? Is he there?
Well, I think that I've seen a lot of people. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
I think that Lampard thing. I've seen in Facebook pages that a lot of people are slagging him because of the Chelsea link. So I don't think a lot of people would want him at Celtic just because he played for Chelsea for that many years, and a lot of Celtic fans.
People need to get a fucking grip. Seriously, Lampard's a big player in the game. He's won the Champions League, he's won the Europa League, representing England on the highest levels as well. Won Premier League titles. He is a good man manager, and I think it's because Chelsea are looking at perspective. They spent 200 million. And the players like Viner and all that haven't stepped up to the plate for Lampard. But look what Lampard done last season for Chelsea. Without the transfer embargo on them, and he got them 4th place and an FA Cup.
Aye. But I mean, can you imagine Peter Lawwell spending £220 million? Christ, man.
Jeez, I think he would go and buy Football Manager.
Like getting CPRs, I mean, but no, I was watching Timo Werner yesterday quite closely in the Chelsea Luton game, and I thought that I genuinely thought that he was trying too hard. We all know he's a good player, and they're all good players down there, but Kai Havertz as well. But it's just not working for them now, and Chelsea always have that kind of way where it's going to work right away or you're getting a sack, and that's the way they're always going to work. So I feel for Lampard, maybe he'll get another job. He might have to go back down to Championship because there's no jobs in the Premiership, but I think he'll do all right for himself.
Do you know what? I'm going to fancy Lampard be the next Burnley manager.
Could be a shout.
I'm gonna fancy Lampard. I actually like Lampard, and I think a lot of people. I think he was a great player for Chelsea, great player for England. Done well at Derby as well when he managed them there.
I think people are looking at the whole Gerrard Lampard kind of rivalry, a wee bit.
Like last week, looking at the Rooney bollocks.
I think it's just looking at a wee bit too deeply, and I don't think anybody's seriously considering it as an option.
Right, Liam. 5 names that you would consider for the Celtic job.
Right, I know that Paul Lambert said this publicly. If he wouldn't want to take the Celtic job, I think he'd be good for Celtic. I think he would be, obviously. obviously, like, I'm not sure. I would like to see Paul Lambert, but obviously he doesn't want a job. But I would like Rafa Benitez. Obviously, he doesn't want a job, but it's a tough one. I mean, like, names getting thrown out there, and like you're trying to think realistically about it. I mean, I don't have a problem with Lampard, but I mean, if he was to get a job, then fair play. But obviously, the 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 rivalry with Gerrard, like that kick into play, you to get more English folk watching the Scotland game. So, I think that Celtic may be trying to look into a business venture like that, like who could get under Gerrard's skin, which is a bit stupid, man. I think
You shouldn't be thinking like that. We need to focus on us, not about the opposition. And at the end of the day, we only play them four times a year. We shouldn't be thinking we're not playing them every bleeding weekend. It's not like the NHL where the Leafs will play the Canadians 8 or 9 times, whatever it is, So you were saying Lambert's. I be honest with you, Paul Lambert would be in my top 5. I put him 5th place, and I think it's because he's done a lot in management. He knows Celtic, even though we said we try to stay away from Celtic relations, but experience-wise, he would be up there. Who would be your force candidate? Would it be Hale, Benitez?
I would say Benitez. I know that he said that he's wanting a break from football, but if we were to give him a good offer, money does talk. And I mean, it talked with Brendan Rodgers. I mean, Brendan Rodgers took it with both arms because he knew that this is my chance to get back in the Premiership, and it worked for him.
And it was a media stunt as well for him because he knew going to a big club like Celtic, it was obviously the Sky Sports cameras, BT was on him, so and it got him back into the Premier League.
Yeah, my first choice would be Martin O'Neill, but it would be Martin O'Neill.
Why Martin O'Neill?
Well, because obviously he had to leave Celtic because of personal reasons. Obviously, his wife having cancer and all that, which is understandable at the time. I think he'd want to come back to Celtic after leaving the Ireland job. I think he'd love to come back to Celtic again and just to prove a point, that he's still a good manager. And I think that.
But he's failed on the last 2 jobs he's been in.
Yeah,
after the Euros for Ireland, he failed.
Yeah, I can understand where you come from with that, but maybe that may be a better start from again, going back to Celtic. He can reinvent himself as a manager he was for Celtic, maybe even win a domestic.
And do you take Roy Keane, or do you take that lad that was with him with Forest and that played with my Forest and also managed with my Celtic? I can't think of his name. Guys, what was this Martin O'Neill's second man in charge?
That one Robertson? No.
Yeah.
Robertson.
I wouldn't take Roy Keane with him because I just don't think that he's got the right mentality to be at Celtic. He's just an idiot, man. Brilliant player, but I mean, as a manager, he just loses dressing rooms to LA just because he's just too aggressive,
Right, guys, your top 5.
All of us, obviously the names that we mentioned, Howe and Benitez obviously is in there for me. As I said to you, I think last week or a couple of weeks ago, if we're talking kind of temporary in charge just to see how things go, why not upgrade Stephen McManus? Him and Tommy McIntyre for the unders to the first team. I don't think it can do any worse. I believe that he should have been probably put in charge rather than Gavin Strachan rather. But I know he was on the bench, but obviously Lennon's still running the team, so that there lies the problem. They're on the bench, but they're not really doing anything. So I think give them a chance, possibly. Another name that I've thrown out before, Graham Potter, right manager. I think he could do a possible good job up here. And Ralph, I think is it Ralph Ragnick?
Yeah, a lot of Celtic fans are talking about this lad.
Done well with Schalke. It was away Leipzig for long enough as well. So, and I think he's got a really good football brain for what I see. For what I know about him.
What's his English like?
I'm not too sure. I've not
That's the thing.
Too many interviews.
A German man going if he is a German man going to Glasgow.
Well, the last German that came to Glasgow didn't do too well. So he ended up back in Germany. But no,
What Marvin Comber?
no, I was talking about Betty Votes. But God, I forgot about Conquer. No, but I don't think there's anybody going to be banging Celtic's door down to take this job. I think if we'd been in a better position league-wise, well, listen, if we were in a better position league-wise, Lennon wouldn't be under pressure and we wouldn't be talking about him getting the sack. So, it defeats the purpose there. But for me, if you're not going to go out and get an Eddie Howe or a Benitez, I think maybe at least hire within the now, try and steady the ship, try and get us back on track, and then we can look in the summer to see who we're going to get. But, Gaultier, Graham Bell's just brought up Christophe Gaultier, a really good manager as well.
Is this the lad that's at the other Red Bull, is it?
Aye. Talk of him going to the Premier League a couple of years ago, and it didn't work out for him. So I think he could possibly do well. Whether or not it kind of suits the Scottish game, I don't know. A bit more defensive minded, but Alex Neil, no for me. But he's playing all right at Preston.
Would you take Alex Neil over Jack Ross?
Aye, probably.
What about you, Liam?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I mean, I think that I'm not sure if Jack Ross would be a big enough manager for Celtic, to be honest. I think Alex Neil, I think he'd be a good fit for us, but I'm definitely going with. I'd go with Martin and Neil. I forgot to mention how. I mean, I think that how would be a good fit for. Like, I was just caught in the moment there, so I had to come up with right 5 managers in my head. But
that comment is going to put you in the moment as well.
No, right. So I'm not sure if I would actually agree to draw, but if he did, then fair play.
Right, I'll go on to mine. Lambert would be me 5th. Jack Ross would be 4th. Number 3 would be Benitez. I don't think Benitez is going to come. I really believe he's not going to come to Celtic. I think we're going to have to fork out. We're going to have to sell a lot of dead wood, or so-called dead wood, to get the money up for Rafa. Dermot Desmond might pull out of his sleeve to get the season books. Number 2 would be Thomas Frank. I think the Brentford manager, I'm just a massive fan of him. I just want him. I just think why not?
That's a good shout. That's a really good shout.
He's going to be paid to get his team. I don't think it won't be that much to get him because he's still in the Championship compared to the Premier League. I think he's a good win ratio with obviously losing to Van Tony and the lad that they lost to Villa. They're still doing quite well. They got to the League Cup semi-final. So I go for Thomas Frank and then Eddie Howe. But Eddie Howe, it should have happened. It's been forking about. I think Eddie Howe just needs to look at what's going on at Celtic and he'd be like, holy fuck, this is a shitstorm. Am I ready to go back to the management and take this job, which is considerably in British football one of the biggest jobs in British football? But is it worth it for him? Is it worth it that you can go there and it might be a Balastrava like what happened with Gordon's tracking? He might fail with qualification. He might not get the signings. He might not get the checkbook. He might not attract the players that he thought he was going to attract. Mm-hmm. And this could be.
I think it would suit him down to the ground, Scottish football. I think he's that kind of tracksuit manager, and I think he'd revel in it, and if he came up here, I really do. I can see him really getting stuck into it.
It really is. Let me see. Yeah, I was watching Anthony. Anthony was on the weekend on the Celtic State of Mind. Red Bull Salzburg assistant. I really don't know. I don't think I wouldn't go that level because I don't know much about this man. I wouldn't go with him. I go with some that we kind of know from the English leagues or the Scottish league. As I said, I think Thomas Frank, Eddie Howe. I wouldn't mind even taking. I wouldn't mind even taking the Ginger Mourinho, Sean Dyche.
I think they're hitting a wee bit of form now. So, I think had he lost the last couple of games and and maybe been given the boot, I think possibly he might have came up here. But much like Eddie Howe, and that kind of, he's, you know, he likes getting stuck into a job and he doesn't care how rough and tumble it is. Do you think it probably suits him better that it's more rough and tumble up here?
That's it. Well, we'll have to see. Hopefully, as you said, the review is the next couple of days. I just think Lennon didn't conduct himself well in that press conference, and I want to talk about that press conference. I know it was last week's news, but Liam, what did you think of it?
I was really surprised. I mean, you've got that thing where he was sticking up for players going to Dubai, then you had that conference after the game, and with the Celtic FC interview, he was a bit more calmer than that, obviously because it's Celtic FC's media, but with the BBC radio interview, he was like, I don't know what you want me to say, and he was just flipping out, and I'm thinking, seriously, man, I just think his head's all over the place just now, and it's not really giving out a good message to Celtic fans, especially when they're still paying for season books.
And what about his name, Andy Walker's comments? Do you go with Andy Walker's comments, Liam, or do you defend Lennon on that?
I mean, what can I say about that? I mean, Andy Walker's working for Sky Sports just now, so I mean, he's just trying to be as honest as he can, but at the same time, he has been a bit of a dick about it, to be honest. So, I mean, I don't really pay much attention to what anybody from Sky Sports say just now, just because of the bad time Celtic are going through, and they're kind of reveling in it, if you will. So, I mean, I grudge even watching games in Sky Sports, Celtic games in Sky Sports just now, obviously because of the pundits they have on, minus Big John.
Yeah, Chris Boyd, sickening. I just want to say, the 60 people that are watching tonight on YouTube, who can subscribe to the channel, really appreciate it. We're going for 5k. Predictions for Wednesday, guys. What are we fancying?
I think if we play the team that I've picked, I think we should win 3-0.
Do you want to be the manager of Celtic?
Dave, I might be getting the phone call sooner rather than later about it. 3 for time now, so.
I heard you and Paul the team are coming in. Brilliant. What do you fancy, Liam?
I'm going to say, I don't think we're going to get a clean sheet, so I'm going to say 4-1.
4-1. So is it just down to the keepers or the actual centre-backs that has you concerned about the clean sheet not happening?
Just from set pieces. I mean, it's not the keeper's fault. I mean, especially in the game against Rangers, that wasn't the keeper's fault. That was Cal McGregor's fault for not looking up when he was heading the ball. Schoolboy error. So that's all you really got to say about that. It was Cal McGregor was looking down when the Zerm hit it. So
some people are saying Lennon must have been on the sauce on Monday and Lennoxtown for that media interview. As you said, Gaz, before we came on here, that he had 2 weeks to let a fire in the belly and then just rip it out.
Mm-hmm. He couldn't defend himself while he was in isolation, and obviously it's day in, day out, front page, back page. Celtic were getting slated, and I agree with him on certain points that, you know, that the government moved the goalposts, as it were. You know, why were we not stopped by the government on the day of the Rangers game? Why were we not told that the country was going into lockdown on the Monday? Mm-hmm. So I think the goalposts were definitely moved. I think we've been kind of, I wouldn't say bullied, but kind of picked on a wee bit in terms of we've been made an example of. But I agree with what Lennon was saying. It was the tone that he came away with. And I get that he's obviously got that fire in his belly. But you're thinking then, in terms of going into the Livingston game, right, well, you've came out swinging. Now your team needs to come out fighting for
Scott Brown came out and said, we're still in a good position to turn us around.
Aye. And for me, they didn't come out fighting against Livingston.
And he got sent off.
Celtic should have came out and won that game. You know, when we went 2-1 up, we should have finished them. And we didn't. We sat back, we went stale, lost a goal, and then obviously the snow came down heavy and the rest of the game just petered out. But I think everybody's got to be singing for the same, singing from the same hymn sheet for Celtic. It can't just be the Lowell says one thing, Lennon says another, and then the team don't show up. Everybody needs to be pulling in the same direction. So we'll see what happens in Wednesday, see if we get any better.
Hopefully there's a few goals, and hopefully there's a clean sheet as well. God bless the one and only Luke Kelly, legend. He's just talking about music for the last 10 minutes. Fair play to him. I'm gonna fancy 2-0 on Wednesday. I just think there's a clean sheet there against them at home. I'm hoping the pitch actually held up well, because you see what happened when we played Ross County last month. The pitch was in bits.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was a bit surprised about that, because obviously when Brendan Rodgers says he was bringing in new turf, so it was the same kind of turf that he used for the Premier League. But I just thought the pitch was a total mess. And I'm just like, what's going on? I mean, their pitch was brilliant last year and the year before, and I don't know, maybe they're just trying to save money or something. I don't know what's going on with that pitch.
I just want to talk about, obviously, Shuggy, the Icelandic defender that we had at Celtic. Obviously, he won two league titles and a Scottish Cup, and he obviously played over 188 times for us as well. And I think he played for his country 22 times as well. So he was a part of the team that won against Rangers, 10 men against Rangers, 4-2 to win the league. I was educated today about this, which I never knew this. So obviously you got to start learning your history somewhere. But he was a part of that team, that 9-in-a-row team in the 70s that got there. Obviously, my thoughts are with his family. He's down as a Celtic legend. So hopefully they wear the black armband as well.
Just seems that teams have been wearing black armbands all season, do you know what I mean, for things. So it's obviously a sad loss to the Celtic family, and obviously that's a massive, massive game in our history, the 4-2 game. So it's just one of the times that just everything seems to be going bad for Celtic, do you know what I mean? One way or another.
That's it. Well, he was 70 years of age. He passed away suddenly. As I said, thoughts go out to his family. Last time he had an Icelandic lad playing for us, he'd even get a read and run. He went on loan about 4 or 5 times. Ferguson or something like that. That guy we got in 2013.
That's right.
Never even got touched, but yet he went off and played well in Germany, and he actually played well in the Euros for Iceland. Was it the World Cup or the Euros? Was it the Euros? Yeah.
The
Euros.
The Euros, isn't it?
Euros, and they beat England.
They beat England, I think it was 2016 in France.
Yeah, so let's see here. Before we're going to pack this up, a 5 million quid striker who hasn't been fit any stage so far this season. Can't wait to see the end of the season. As I said to guys before I even started this off, Liam, it's like I hate saying it. It's basically like getting bad news away on a holiday, and you're stuck in an airport, and you're agitated. You just want it to end. You just want to get home, and that's it. That's what I feel about this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this season it's just been every week. It's just been drama after drama after drama. It's just, I mean, we're not even at. I think the board at Celtic are a bit relieved that we're not even allowed in the ground to vent our frustration, because
that's why they're getting away with murder.
Yeah, so I think they are more or less happy with that. And because they don't need to do any press conferences just now, because obviously Lennon has got an issue with Sky Sports and he's got an issue with BBC as well. So I think he's just wanting them just to leave him alone. So he's just not wanting any answers. He's just not getting them any answers at the minute because he's fell out with them.
But Alex Ferguson done that with the BBC for a few years, but no, Lennon's not near the statue of Alex Ferguson. Never would be. But I was saying to guys before, this is Lennon's biggest job he'll ever have in football.
Yeah, I would say so, because it's not as if Bolton's a bigger club than Celtic. So he just done terrible at Bolton. Also at Hibs, I wouldn't say done that great. So I had raised eyebrows when they were going to re-sign him again, because his first stint with Celtic, he left because it looks like he left because he wasn't getting the money for players. So why? I don't know why he came back the second time, to be honest.
So it's like being in jail and you've done nothing and you're waiting for your lawyer to get you out.
This season feels like a life sentence, I'm telling you.
I heard the jail's called Ibrox and it stinks like shit as well.
But it's but I mean, listen, that's the thing. It's difficult to if we were able to get fans in the stadium, as I said to my mate the other night, we wouldn't be in the position we're in. I think we'd either be top of the league or would be a hell of a lot closer to them. I think the fact that Rangers are thriving on not having any fans because there's no pressure then, and we are obviously missing out now. It's hurting us the most because we thrive on the fans pushing you. You know the games you've been in before when you're 1-0 down, the fans push you on, the fans push your team on, and you know that's what we're missing. And I think if the fans were allowed in, we wouldn't be that far behind.
That's it. You know, every person or every human being has a bad stage in life, and the team itself, you know, every football team can't always keep winning and winning, and we'll bounce back from it. You know, it may take a season, may take 2 seasons, but at the end of the day, all I can say is it took them 9 years to save up money and buy a phone and start using the 5 button. This 5 button, that's all they can use is the 5 button. Don't know what else to use. Like, ever educated, you know, the 5 button. Just you keep tapping the 5s and it'll make up to the amount of money that you actually owe the tax man. that's all I can say. Now look, we'll bounce back. Sometimes that's the roller coaster of football. You win some, you lose some, and it wasn't down to losing so many games this season. It's just down to dropping the points, losing the mentality.
The draws have killed us this season, Jack, and I think we've dropped something like 16 or 18 points in draws. You know, so I think you know if you convert them into wins, then we're doing all right in. But too many draws have killed us. We've only been beaten twice. Unfortunately, it's been by them twice. But you know, as you say, we need to bounce back. We need to start putting wins together.
That's it. We had to lead the season. I wouldn't say on a high, just leading the season, saying, "Well, look at." Since January, we went on this run because it's mad to think we've dropped, 9 points in 4 games?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah. But anything else you want to finish on, Liam? Anything else you want to finish on before we head?
Just thanks to everybody who's subscribed to the channel, and thanks for everybody for viewing the live broadcast. And we'll hopefully get a chat on Wednesday. Like before,
yeah, I'd say so. Wednesday night we'll be back on. Hopefully, Gaz will be back on Wednesday night if he's not painting or something, whatever he's doing.
Well, obviously, I've not got Celtic TV, which is probably just as well.
Well, don't be saying where you're gonna watch the game. So
No, I'll probably just stick to I don't know EastEnders or something.
EastEnders, yeah.
Aye. They struggle to write a script better than this, I'll tell you.
I'll tell you one thing, Mondays they'll be fascinating in Glasgow at this rate. I think, as you said, you'd be Celtic being front and back pages.
Aye.
But this is a season we'll look back and say, geez, we really went to the shit, didn't we? But we digged back in, we got back together, and that's what we're all hoping, you know?
Just getting it back together quicker, sooner rather than later.
Definitely. Well, look, as I said, there's no point. Look, the league's done and dusted. Let's go out, put what we can out in the pitch and get it right. Let's hopefully hopefully we can actually get a bit of chemistry up the flanks. I fancy Turnbull scoring on Wednesday night.
Possibly, aye.
Yeah,
hopefully.
So I mean, I'm hoping Sorrell can get on the score sheet again because his last goal was a cracker.
Definitely. So, Big Blue thinks there's a lot of sectarian hated here. Not really. It's just you're just watching the wrong channel. You're just not watching it. You're just watching the wrong channel.
I don't even know what he's doing there. I mean, it's
I think he must have been floating through the wrong YouTube search bars. But leave him to it. You know, he should be on the blue screen. You mean Blue? Big blue screen, you
Yeah,
know,
should
that's what it
win
is.
follow for them or something.
Yeah, that's it. The Sea of Kiprocks. That's the one. That's it. Leaving to it. Right, look, we're gonna leave it there. Thank you very much for whoever watched tonight. We'll be back on Wednesday night. I'll also get a preview done myself tomorrow night of going into the Hamilton game. So if you haven't seen these two lads' pages, Liam runs the Glasgow Celtic stream with Gavin. So that's on Facebook and on Twitter, and also on Instagram and Facebook. There is the Celtic Appreciation page. So Facebook Celtic Appreciation page, and then CFC Appreciation on Instagram. So give the two of them a like. I'm sure Big Blue will. You'll enjoy it. You'll be loving it. But take care of yourselves. God bless. You know, Arthur Borich, the holy goalie. He hates. We won't say anymore. But take care. See you all soon, lads.
Cheers, man.
Hail, all the best.